Welcome back to the show. My First Tie is an engaging children's book about a young boy sharing his experience learning how to tie for the first time and the important lessons about honesty that he learned along the way. Former Hartford Education Executive Brandon Frame is here, along with Tanae Deneen Eskridge. They are the co-authors. Here's the book right here, My First Tie. Welcome, Tanae, your third time writing a book.
Yes.
Brandon, your second time writing a book.
Thank you.
It's a children's book with African-American characters. Talk about your concept here, what you're trying to get across.
Well, I mean, it starts with making sure representation matters.
Why does it matter?
Because I think we need to develop positive self-identity in our young people, especially our children of color, and they need to see positive images of themselves. And so we wanted to make sure that we displayed that with our cover.
You know, the whole issue of literacy, right? When you don't have people of color who reflect students in urban schools, it's hard for kids to connect if you don't see kids who look like them, right? And I think that can contribute to the whole literacy issue with young kids in urban areas. There's no connection. Tanae, what do you think about that?
No, I absolutely 100% agree. Kids are inspired by things that are familiar or similar. So if they don't see characters that look like them, that resemble them, and characters that are not extra animated. So what we see a lot in literature with African Americans is the characters are exaggerated, extra big lips, extra caricature-ish.
Stereotype.
Versus stereotypes versus real life what African American Black people or people of color look like. So that's something that was really important to Brandon and I, that the characters look like our uncles and our grandfathers and our aunties, and that the children can relate without feeling like they're being puppets or being exaggerated.
Hi, Diane, you're going around the country. What's the feedback you're getting? I know you've been over to the West Coast. What are you hearing from folks who hear about the concept?
It's been amazing. I mean, the stories that we have. Like
Give me a story.
So just last week we did a book signing in New York City, and a young boy walked in with his book.
Yeah.
Right? So he had already purchased it, or his family already purchased it, and he came in and told us his favorite page, what the book means to him, and that he already had done it as a book report.
Yeah.
The book's only been out for like 7 weeks.
That must feel good, huh?
That was like powerful. It was moving. I was brought to tears right there in front of him. He's like,
Yeah.
don't cry.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's something you don't even think about in creation, that some child is going to do a book report.
Right.
On a book that you write.
Yeah, we actually had a kid in LA, it's actually on my Instagram page. He took the story and the book in for story time, and he made himself the main character because he felt like he looked so much like Little Dell, who's the lead character in the book.
Dell, okay.
Yeah, he made himself Little Dell, and his name was Sydney, so he replaced Little Dell with Sydney. And so it's his story, and that's what we wanted. We wanted him to feel like I'm in a book. Like I can write a book, and I can put myself in it if I want.
So who's the inspiration for Little Dell? Is he a combination of some people, or is he a cousin, or who's the fictional inspiration?
Right now, he's in my belly.
Oh, okay. Oh, really?
Yes.
Congratulations.
No, thank you very much.
All right.
So, years before I was ever pregnant, my husband's an educator. And so he was one of 3 male teachers at his school, the only Black male educator in a predominantly Caucasian school district. And so it's called The Adventures of Coaching Little Dell because he was the PE teacher, coached every sport, PE teacher turned science tutor, reading tutor, and he inspires so many kids. And so his experience being Black at an all-white school, it was amazing, his experiences with these kids. Right. And he had an encounter with a woman who he left campus for lunch, came back, and they locked him out of the campus because she didn't recognize him. So she's thinking he's
making assumptions,
making an assumption, locks him out of his job, and so then he pulls the key out, goes on campus. When he tells me this story, I'm like, this is a problem. You need to feel safe at work. So from that incident birthed this series, and I thought instead of being angry with this adult, why don't we go after the children? Why don't we introduce children to strong Black male figures through children's literature before they can build stereotypes and prejudice? And
the adults too now, let's be honest, right? But the teachers have to know that's out there because you could argue that even though you have African characters, it's not just for Black or brown kids. White kids need to see books where there are African American characters or brown people as well, right? Brown, Black, etc. Yeah,
originally when we wrote this series, that's what it was for. I wanted children to see, obviously I want our children to be encouraged and feel motivated, but I particularly wanted non-Black children to see good Black people. Because from our perspective, we don't feel threatened in our neighborhoods. We love our uncles, we love Big Daddy, we love Papa. But if you don't know them and you don't know them personally, then you may see them as Ray Ray and them are special to us. We love Ray Ray and them.
Junebug and
Junebug and them. They bring birthday gifts. They're at graduation. And so we wanted to again introduce children who are not Black to Black men who are strong and beautiful before they can build stereotypes or prejudice.
Let's talk about this tie thing. We have about 2 minutes left. We haven't mentioned the tie.
Yes.
So the tie is like a rite of passage for most men, right? So walk me through why the tie is sort of a symbol for growing up, for boyhood, manhood. Walk me through why the tie is so important to part of all this.
Because that's where, again, you brought it, it's a rite of passage, right? Every there's not a person, but definitely not a male in the world who can't relate to the first time that they learned how to tie a tie.
Absolutely.
And so there was really no book that actually took anybody through that experience. And so it was just a perfect marriage to create this for young people all over to have a story of learning how to tie a tie for the first time.
So how do you get this book embedded, not just at the stores, but in the curriculum across the country? And I'm assuming that's the goal now, to get schools to buy the book. How do you have that conversation? How do you get into that network?
We've had really great conversations with lots of schools who are very much interested in bringing the book in from all different school districts, from a Simsbury on down to a Windsor, right? So very much interested in the book. And then what we're working on now is collecting ties, or even working with maybe a corporate sponsor to provide the ties, so that every time we go into schools, not only are they receiving the book, but they're also receiving a tie, and then we can instruct on how to tie that tie, and it makes for a perfect experience, or what we call the My First Tie experience when we do it at schools.
And again, you were at Hartford a few years back, over at which school again, where you were?
Schooling.
Right, and then your background, Tanae?
My background
Besides being future mom of the year,
future
right?
mom. I'm a writer. This is actually my third book.
Right.
But I also work with youth. I work for a nonprofit. I spend a lot of time working with at-risk youth in South Central Los Angeles, California. So I have a lot of...
so this is a passion for you guys. This is a missionary work right here.
Yes.
It truly is, yes.
All right, so next step now, I'm assuming this is now a brand. You're going to have to do more now with Coach and Dell. You got a series pending, I'm assuming, right?
We do have a series pending,
Yeah.
absolutely, yes.
All right.
And so look for the series.
All right, so again, this book is My First Tie, written by
Yes.
Tanae, Deneen Eskridge, and Brandon Frame. Picked up at a bookstore near you, right?
Absolutely.
Amazon, all right?
Amazon.
All right,
Amazon.
all right. Thanks to our guests, folks. And don't forget to catch our show 24/7 on your own time, fox61.com/Stan. Friend us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter for the good folks here at Fox 61. I'm Stan Simpson. The Morning News is next.